Hello, and welcome to the pants. Gosh. Hello, and welcome to another MrBetaByte video, and this one's a little bit different insofar as we're looking at an SL-F1 and TTF1. Slight difference is that this is an SL-F1F. So this is SECAM, and this has come all the way from France, from Guillaume, and thank you very much for sending this to me, and see if I can get this going. Now the problem he's having is basically take-up problems. It will play for about 2 seconds and then it cuts out. While I tell you about this, let's take the tape off. And he's tried a few different things to try and get it going. Suggested a couple of things to him, and basically nothing's worked. It's still playing up. Let's save that tape, because it's actually quite good tape for just keeping everything together. Now this was sent using UPS, and regulars to the channel will know I really do not like UPS, but they are the only carrier that seem to be able to send stuff from Europe to the UK, or deliver, and not cost an absolute fortune. But as I have witnessed locally, they throw parcels when they're transferring from one van to the other. They throw parcels, and unfortunately this has suffered some damage. Oh gosh, yeah, that doesn't look right. Hopefully not too much damage. I hope the internals are okay, but there is some cracked plastic, and yeah, I thought when I first unwrapped this that didn't look right. It looked like it had been pushed up. Yeah, so that's broken. Oh, joys of UPS. So yeah, it's not a great start, but that's easy to repair, thankfully. So that's all the tape off, and the damage, yeah, is there. So I've just broken that off. Actually, the last little bit was hanging on for dear life, but it needs to come off anyway, because to glue that on I need to get a good clean sort of surface. So that's actually not too bad. So yeah, that's really cool. I love the French. I know it seems a bit silly, but because it is a French unit, but it's just nice to see the French version, and the French days, of course, names of the days, and of course it is SECAM, which shouldn't present us with too many problems. Somewhere I have actually got a known good tape then that's recorded in SECAM, so I can test it with that, but I can make some recordings as well. I've got the ability to do that, I think, and I also have the ability to capture from this as well, because my copy box supports SECAM. He very kindly as well provided an adapter. The only thing is that got damaged in transit, so I'm gonna have to put a new plug on that, which is a real pain. But I've got an adapter anyway, so that's no problem. I'll just fix this. So yeah, without further ado, let's crack on. Okay, so I've glued this back on. That was not a big job. It's a good start. First things obviously that I'm noticing is obviously the damage, but the LCD has gone all leaky as well. It's probably been exposed to heat, maybe being in a loft or in the sun or whatever, but we'll see what we can do about that. But what I'm really intrigued to see is the actual issue itself. So I think what I'll do is I'll take the top cover off the F1 and we'll give it a test, just have a look. So I'm going to start by taking the top door off. And I might have to actually eject this to get this off. I thought you could get this off without having to, but maybe not. Yeah, no. I just thought you could push this back. No. Okay. Take these back 2 screws out. And this can be a bit of a fiddle sometimes. And there should be, well, normally you'd have to undo the connector before you pull this off, but obviously, I mean, a lot of these I'm finding, oh, there's a crack there as well. Blessed UPS. So yeah, connector for the battery terminal goes there. You can see that's been pulled back. Somebody's had some fun there. And now I should be able to remove this, so I can pivot forward the front a little bit. And that should give me, oh, one side's off. Should give me enough just to take this off. Hooked on the other side there. There we go. So, not the most elegant way of doing it, but yeah, so spools feel good. Oh, pinch roller feels terrible. It may well be it's just the pinch roller. Yeah, I mean that bearing is just totally gone. Yeah, I'm really going to have to look into getting some replacements, because I am running out of pinch rollers. Okay. Well, I suppose we ought to power it up and just see what it's doing, but I think this is just going to be a matter of replacing the pinch roller. Of course, it's not going to be just a matter of doing the pinch roller, because we've got the display, we've got to check the power supply. We'll also have a look at the AC DC DC converter box as well. Probably just replace the caps in that, and should be a good one. So let's crack on. So let's power it on. Being French, it's well, being an F1, it's 110 to 240 volts. So yeah, I can just plug this in. I've got my adapter. So let's go for it. Oh, we've got a display. That's really cool. I am pretty confident this is going to be pinch roller though. So I'm putting a power cassette in. It should play, but in black and white. Yeah, I will say I did just try and rotate the capstan, and it appeared to be quite stiff. Could do with a new belt as well, which will probably happen in the fullness of time. Oh, I don't know. No, that's... So it looks like we might have a capstan issue. Yeah, we've got no capstan run. Yeah, that's definitely what it is, isn't it? Pause. Got no video out. Is that because I plugged this in wrong? Probably. I thought it was this side. Oh, I always thought Sony's. It's this. This is the video out. This side, and then this is the video in. So. Yeah, so I'm not getting anything. But that could be my copy box just being a bit upset about the fact that it's a SECAM output and a PAL cassette. Okay, so yeah, we have capstan issues. Let's crack on. So let's get the deck out. I've sort of forgotten how these come apart. I should watch my older videos, shouldn't I? But I think it is actually, so you can see the capstan motor free run there. But I want to have a look at the actual capstan motor itself. To see if there's anything obvious jamming it. Well, I say jamming it. I mean, it seems to be free moving, so that's fine. Not an original screw there. I know this has been apart because Guillem has cleaned up the Hall effect, which is great. And I'm trying there's something else I have to do. Not just as simple as just taking those screws out. If there's anything else there. So that screw there, slowly coming back to me. That made it come free. So this is sort of floating about actually, which is not ideal, but it's fine. Sort that out. Because there is a screw hole there, but there's no screw in it, so that's okay. Do I need to take out Screws this side, I think I do. Yeah, I'll do that. So the plan is to try and test this with this open, and I think I can get away with it. It's a bit haphazard, but anyway, nothing ventured, nothing gained, I suppose. So power on. Get that out, and I'm going to put my blank greases the word tape in if I can. It's a bit fiddly. There we go. Not quite fully ejected. Okay, so let's try play. So the capstan's actually fine. And it's taking up fine. I can see the motor, the fly for the take up working. A bit mindful of some of these grounding straps, because they have so many grounding straps that they float about and start breaking things. Oh, just spotted something. Connector not quite on as it should be. Oh, I thought that might have been it for a minute. Okay, we're going to put the deck back down onto the PCB and we'll just see what's going on. Okay, so let's try fast forward. So we've got plenty of drive, and I've got take up. You can see the capstan moving now, and the pinch roller seems okay. So why is it erroring? Let's just eject and just try a proper cassette, because obviously it's realizing that the reels, basically it's a broken cassette as far as it's concerned. It's not an end sensor, is it? Because it's rewind and fast forward. It probably isn't. Might be worth just unplugging them. Okay, so I've unplugged both end sensors, red and black. Turn it on. What is it airing on? Well, I suppose we could measure the resistance on the sensors. Well, I have to say I'm very much suspecting it's a sensor on the real table, to be honest. I mean, it seems to really want to work. It's just not getting the feedback of tape movement, even though everything is working fine. I still suspect that pinch roll is not great, but we'll see. The Hall effect's been cleaned, which is something, but has no effect anyway on this. It's just my way of saying that it has been cleaned up. But everything seems to work. But it's like getting a false error. And I'm suspecting, like I say, it's a real table assembly. Something is not right there. I do have another one, and I may well just take out the real assembly from that one and swap it over and just see if that does the trick. I mean, it's a bit of a bodge. It'd be nice to know what's actually failed, but if we can eliminate everything else and eliminate the electronics and pin it down to this, this is very strongly my suspicion that this is the culprit. So let's eject the cassettes, and we'll strip down the other one, and yeah, I mean, I'll want to nick the LCD from it anyway, so yeah, that could be quite fun changing that actually, but yeah, let's crack on. Had a bit of a dig around and do quite a lot of spares, and I have come across, so that's the original real table assembly, BHF 1800A. Now this is a BHF 1800C, and this is from a C9, and really the only difference is the length of the leads. I can't see any other differences. The actual motor assembly itself is the same, so I could, if I wanted to, swap over the cables, although the solenoid would be a bit tricky, probably find a way of losing that cable. Also, the one connector on the C9 is white, whereas it's red on the F1. But digging around even more, I found a good tested F1 real assembly, so that's great. So I still think I might have an end sensor problem. And the thing with these is that they actually, I've got one here actually, got a spare. They actually do have some extra components on the actual board that the sensor's on. So when you put a meter on the connector, it doesn't actually read straight across the coil, because ordinarily on later machines or on earlier machines you'd be looking for about 2.8 to 4 ohms. If the coil's good, if it's open, then well, it's open. And I did have one that was like 1.2-ish ohms, and that actually had a short on the coil. I think that was actually in a previous video, so somewhere. I think that was a C30, I think. Could be wrong. So, yes, my thought is, I was going to put the original real assembly back in and then test the sensors in circuit, which would have been a nice thing to do, just to eliminate that. But it seems silly to put this real assembly back in when I've got this real assembly, which I know is good. So I think I'm going to put this back in and we'll give it a test, and then we'll see if my suspicions that it is actually an end sensor that's gone open are correct. So yeah, I won't show putting this back in because it's the reverse of taking it out, which I sort of showed. So I think so. Yeah, let's crack on. Oh, almost forgot. I started out by thinking I might cannibalize this machine. Now this machine, this actually came from Eric ages ago, and he bought it on eBay. I think it was eBay, but he bought it, and it was advertised as being in very good condition, and sure enough, it is. It's actually fairly low hours. You can see it's had some use, but unfortunately they didn't pack it very well, and it all got smashed. The worst thing of all is, now I can show this, the ribbon has got broken. I don't can quite see that. There's a hole there. So this will need something to repair all the ribbons, and it is all the ribbons have some damage. The one on this side I think is also damaged, so yeah, and the front as well. But I probably will nick the LCD off this for now. Somewhere I have got another front panel assembly PCB set with a good LCD, but this, I'm in no rush to do this. This is effectively scrap, but I hope to get it going. But what I will do is put this other front on, because this is fine, apart from a small scratch on it and a bit of a wear mark. So I'll do that, so that's all done. But yeah, that's actually pretty cool. So let's crack on. So back in, and it's doing the same thing. So yeah, so I do wonder if we've got an end sensor problem. So I'm going to try that next. I think I've got this one. I can use it to test this end and that end. So yeah, let's crack on. Well, I've already tried that one, and just trying this one, and both are giving the same issue. So it's not those either. That caught me out. I really thought it might be an end sensor. So I'm starting to lose hope. No. No, I'm starting to wonder what is actually going on with this. Yeah, I mean, you could argue maybe it's Capstan, but the Capstan isn't run in fast forward and rewind, I seem to remember. So that wouldn't cause a problem. So I think we need to get down and dirty with the electronics and just see what's going on. It's really weird that it keeps cutting out. I mean, there is a back tension. Maybe if it's not getting feedback from that, it would cause... Well, yeah, I suppose it would cause it, because that would be an error condition. So maybe I ought to try and find that. So that's another black, white, red. There isn't... Where is it? Where are you? Black, white, red on a white. Non-screened. Of course, it might not be black, white, red on here. Yeah. Let's have a look and we'll take it from there. Well, hours of fun. I thought I would, where is it? There it is. Use this Capstan motor just to sort of test whether it is the Capstan motor. I mean, I really don't think it is, because the Capstan motor is not even run in fast forward and rewind, and it would have no input into ever checking for those two modes. But I thought, well, what the hell, let's give it a go. This is BHF 1901B. The F1 uses a BHF 1901A, and there is actually, apart from the length of the cables, they're actually wired differently. So this one, for example, all of these three move over, and then this orange one, which I think is yellow on the F1, is actually pin 1. So yeah, that wasn't going to happen. So I've got the other deck and untangled the cables and plugged them in, and it does pretty much confirm. So fast forward and rewind, I've got no capstan movement. In play I do, but you'll notice I've got a servo problem, and I wonder if that's what it is. And it's a bit confusing, because this isn't running fast when it's plugged in with the original Capstan, but with this other Capstan it is. But I just wonder if it's actually airing before I actually detect that it's running fast. Now, what confuses me a bit is that Guillaume was saying that it would pause, and I've not found that so far. I haven't seen it pause with a freeze frame picture, but that could be because I'm not actually using a SECAM cassette. I should, with a power cassette, I should be seeing a black and white image, but I'm not. But yeah, so I'm a bit confused, but yeah, it doesn't take much. Let's crack on. So I'm pretty convinced it's the head servo that we've got problems with. And I thought just for the sheer kick of doing it, I would connect up this head drum, and yeah, this sort of proves it really. You can see it's running really fast. It seems to be getting worse, which is a good thing. I don't want to do this too often, because there is a risk of damaging the head chips, because this isn't obviously rotating, and the pulling down of the tape can actually damage the chips. But yeah, that proves it. So we've got a head servo problem. So yeah, I suppose we need to investigate that. Let's crack on. I thought I'd have a break from diagnosing servo faults and just change this LCD. I've already taken this off the other one. I didn't film it, so I thought, well, I'll film this one. Removal of this one. I'm going to take this off because this is a bit of a pain, to be fair. And yeah, we will put that back in at the end. So I've taken the front off. That's quite easy. Some clips from the top, and then you pull down and it will drop off the bottom. You want to be careful you're not twisting it too much. If you break these plastic white plastic bits, the chances are you'll break the membrane as well, so just be mindful of that. Then we need to get this plastic surround off, so I'm actually going to use a screwdriver just to help ease this off, and hopefully I won't break anything. And then there's a tab there. And then this will, as you can see, there's two lugs there. This should just drop off with a little bit of gentle persuasion. And I'm not pulling the board out, I'm pushing the plastic back. Again, I don't want to risk damaging those, that flexi. They are notoriously fragile, and yeah. I should just be able to push that, I think. Like I say, it's plastic really. I'm being more careful not to strain. What am I missing? It's the tracking control that's causing me a bit of grief. Just don't think I can get off easily. There we go, I think. Oh, it's a bit nerve-wracking. The other one came off so much easier. Can't even see where that's stuck. There we go. Just push them off. I'd rather break the plastic than break the membrane or break anything else. If I'm going to do it, I mean, hopefully I won't. Oh, there's one in the middle. That was what was causing me grief. Just move that out the way. Got the just out of shot, you just about see it. Got the microphone in. There's a microphone in, isn't it? Oh, earpiece. Yeah, so headphone jack. Okay, so what we're actually removing or desoldering to get the display out are these here and these here. So let's do that. I think I can just about. No, I can't reach. Of course I can't. Too easy. Bear with me. Well, I think I can just about reach. So. I'm actually balancing this on the top of my blank greases a word tape. Again, so I'm not straining as much as possible, trying not to strain those connections or those ribbons. And these four here. There we have it. Double-sided print, of course. And it is actually on both sides that you have to solder through, which is why it's a little bit more effort, but you can see the difference there. I would say this has been in direct sunlight at some point, or very hot. But yeah, it's well and truly had it. So yeah, let's put the other one back in. and then we can diagnose, that's confidence for you I suppose, but we can diagnose the issues with the servo then, knowing that that bit is done. So I'm going to be naughty and use this to solder it. It's fine to do it with this, but it's just clumsy. I did have one machine, I can't remember what it was. It had double-sided print. You had to make sure it's soldered on both sides because there was no through connection on the hole. And that was quite challenging actually. Can't remember what that was. Very early double-sided print. So that's it. That's soldered. Looking tidy enough, and it's flush. So let's put this back on. Quick clean of both the display and the LCD, and take the tracking control off because that was fouling things somewhat, but everything else looks good. It might be nice to give this a clean while I'm in here. Yeah, it's the tracking control that was fouling it, but well, yeah, I don't know. Would I be better to remove it? It would have. It's a bit of a fiddle to pull out on these, I have to say. So, yeah, I think in hindsight, it would have been better to have removed it. Tried to have removed it somehow. There we go. That is on ish. Yeah, not sitting terribly nicely in a couple of places. I wonder why that is. What have I missed to do? Missed to clean it. Thick layer of grime there. To be fair, I think it's just warped slightly. Seems to be completely flush. Just not quite sitting. Oh, there we go. Well, sort of. So there we go. We have a good display on it now. So yeah, time to look at the servo. Let's crack on. So the plot thickens. When I first powered this back up, I had no capstan rotation at all, and but the head drum was running at pretty much what sounded like the right speed. So I thought, okay, I'll plug in the other deck and see if the capstan works on that, and it didn't. That's really weird. I'm sure it did work before. So I've left it powered up, and now I get this. So I've got the heads running at way too fast, and the capstan running way too fast. So I think I must have some sort of, it's either power supply or some sort of signal issue to both circuits. And by signal issue, I'm sort of thinking 4.43, but it probably won't be. This is where it gets interesting, because this is a SECAM unit, and 4.43 is the carrier. Yeah, so I'm going to have to refresh my memory on SECAM, because I've only worked on about, I think, one machine that was true French SECAM, and that didn't actually have a SECAM issue. Yeah, so this is going to be a fun one. Yeah, let's crack on. So I mean, this is really odd. So I've put the original capstan motor back in circuit, and everything seems to run fine now. I mean, we were getting like fast head drum and fast capstan. I mean, it's still cutting out, of course, but yeah, it's sort of working okay now, and that's really weird. I mean, I really suspect there's a capacitor that's doing something it shouldn't. But where do I start? I mean, get the scope out and get the meter out, and we can check a few things. But yeah, and that's what I shall do. So I'll crack on and work my way through this. I will do that off camera. I'm working on being able to do all of that on camera, but what I'll do then is I'll just explain what I've found, and indeed if I can fix it. I hope I can. I should be able to, but yeah, I'm sure we can fix it, but they're not the easiest of machines to work on, so we shall see. So yeah, let's crack on. Well, I now get an image, black and white, of course, because this is a power cassette, but that's what I should be seeing, which I wasn't seeing before. And this connector was off, so that really threw me, and that's great. Actually, it's nice to know that it is actually a functioning system. I did just put some freezer spray on, because it does seem to be possibly thermal. Probably not now, but there is something, as this deck is powered over time, that makes things change. So yeah, like I say, I'll investigate, and we'll take it from there. Well, the display's looking good. But what I thought I'd do, just by point of elimination, I really didn't suspect there was any problem with this, but you never know. I've actually put 12 volts in on the battery connector. So pin 3 is ground, pin 1 is positive, and the middle pin is for the battery sense. But pin 3, sorry, is literally straight to ground. So I've just soldered it onto the bit of solder here, just to keep it, well, so I'm not contaminating an extra pin that I don't need to. So yeah, I've got 12 volts on there. But yeah, it's doing exactly the same thing, and it's not what I thought it probably would be the case. I am suspecting possibly there might be a power supply issue actually on the F1 itself. So at the moment, I mean, I've only just started this up from cold, and everything is running as it should, other than it's cutting out after a couple of seconds. But we were getting that sort of fast head and capstan motor issue, and then that would settle down. You've sort of got like a window of 5-10 minutes, it seems to be, where they're running fast and all over the place, and then they settle down, but all the way through that it's cutting out. So yeah, it's certainly an interesting fault. But and I am suspecting a capacitor. Like I say, it just feels very much like a capacitor issue. But yeah, I'll crack on and update you when I find what's wrong with it. Let's crack on. Looking at this, the one component on this IC, in inverted commas, it's IC607, it's actually worn through the paint, and you can see where it's been rubbing, and a bit of a wear mark there as well. And I just wonder if that's actually caused this to pop, or, well, yes, caused it to pop, because even if I lift it, it still gives a problem. And what sort of adds to my theory with that is this is for the tape end sensors. So the tape end sensors, the magnetic coils, feed into this, and there's an output which basically is a trigger output. The behavior of the deck, the way it will actually play for a little bit and then stop, sort of suggests that this isn't a fault, but maybe it is. There's not a huge amount on there, to be honest. And I do wonder what all this white is all about as well. But it is exactly the same. It's a BX1047. It is exactly the same as the power unit. I've just been comparing the two panels, actually. And it's amazing how different they are, especially at the back end. So the power unit has a heck of a lot more of those orange ICs, in inverted commas, and yeah, the layout is definitely quite different, but yeah, it's quite handy because quite a few of them are the same. I mean, you'd sort of expect that. I mean, this is Syscon here as well, so I'm very tempted to change this and just see if that does the trick. It's a bit of a shot in the dark, but if it does the trick, then I'm happy, and I'll take that win. But if changing this doesn't do the trick, then I'll have to get a bit more sort of in-depth and just have a look at what's going on. It doesn't make an awful lot of sense to me why this is still cutting out. The real table's good, the head motor is good, the capstan's good, and how it's working out why there's a problem. We know the end sensors are good, we know the take up back tension is good, so it has to be sort of logic level. Just hoping it's nothing to do with the front panel, because that could be quite fun. But I could potentially rob a front panel if that's the case. I think they are the same. So, we'll see. Let's crack on. So, just waiting for the iron to warm up. I'm going to remove it using my desoldering iron, which is not that refined and rather noisy. But yeah, I'll show getting this one out, but I won't probably show getting the one out of the actual machine, because it's going to be quite difficult to get an angle on it. But and these do have double-sided print as well, so using the gun is a very good idea. Maybe. Most of them are free. There's just one leg at the end that isn't quite free. It might be now. So there we go. There we have it. Just have to make sure I get it in the right way on the other one. So I'll crack on with that, and we'll take it from there. Well, I've changed it, and yeah, the old one, a couple of the legs actually broke off, and I wasn't rough taking this out. It's had a bit of a hard life, but I mean, that is repairable. Scraping off the paint, but anyway, the other one's in. I put some Capstan tape on there as well, just as some extra protection. It's a little bit wonky, but it's fine. So I still have the problem though, and I've just noticed that I don't have 5 volts to one of the sensors. It's actually the take-up reel side end sensor, so I need to investigate that further. I'm still really worried about the plastic's broken on the hinge there, and it's straining this ribbon, which I'm not terribly impressed with. I mean, if I have to do a repair job on that, I do, but I need to lift this up. But on the same token, it makes it difficult for tipping this over without it tipping over, so I need something quite large to sort of put this on. I'll work something out. Anyway, I will crack on with this and sort of try and get to the bottom of it, and then hopefully I will fill you in on what fixed it. Let's crack on. So after a little bit of investigation, I have actually found several capacitors are leaking. This one here was the first one that sort of alerted me, and then I noticed this one. I've marked them with black on the top. This one, that one there. The rest seem okay, but what I'm going to do is take the mechanism off now, just unplug everything so I can properly get to the board and properly just go right the way through it. It's fairly clear to see where they've been leaking, and they are physically leaking because the tracks are starting to suffer. So I'm going to have to try and neutralize that as well, and just hope they're not too damaged. But yeah, all the ones I've marked, you can see quite clearly they've lost a lot of their contents. So yeah, let's get this deck off and take it from there. So I'm hoping I can just unplug everything without causing too much, easier said than done, not causing too much stress to anything. One thing I do find with this is actually reading the component numbers is a bit of a challenge, and they are there, but they can just be under wires, going to move components, and I'm going to get that to pin 1. Shouldn't really be pulling the wires, but I've got a huge amount of choice really. Slide that one off maybe. This is starting to give me a bit more room to play with. More of these that I take out. I mean, it'd be nice if that's all it is. I suspect it won't be. That won't fix it, but I'm going to have to sort those out first before I go any further, really. I was thinking I was missing a voltage on the sensors, the take-up sensor, but I found out I was actually it's actually measuring on the wrong connector. Let's unplug this as well. There's a grounding wire linking the two together, so that's fine. Not too worried about that. So I have to just give that a little bit more leeway. I could unsolder it, but I want to continue testing it like I have been. So I was just wondering if there is any sign of the leakage on the back, and there doesn't appear to be. It hasn't come through. Maybe you can let me know in the comments as well. I don't think these boards, because they're double-sided PCBs, I don't think the actual connection goes from the top to the bottom of the board. The component actually makes that connection. So, yeah, I don't think it's got the through-hole conductors. But, yeah, I think we may have got away with it. I was noticing as well the orange package that I changed. It looks crooked from the top, but the soldering on the bottom is actually all level. So I don't know what that's all about. But yeah, I'm going to have to try and get this out. Get these out. Is that one okay? Because that looks like a... No, yeah, that's it. That is. It's just a few caps. I'll be interested to see. They all look very similar in value, so it'd be interesting to see if there's a common theme with the capacitors that have actually leaked. Oh, there's another potential one there. Let's have a look there. No, it's fine. Yeah, so I'll change those caps anyway and take it from there. Let's crack on. So yeah, I've done the 4 capacitors. I'm really pleased with those. They went in okay. I've cleaned up the panel underneath. This one here. This is actually, I thought it was this one that was leaking, which I found really odd because it's a 1 microfarad 50 volt, and they tend to be always good on these anyway. That's actually this one that leaked. They are all 10 microfarad, 16 volt caps. So yeah, that's quite interesting. All the rest seem fine, but obviously they've used miniaturized versions, so it fits under the deck. So all the ones at the back seem okay. I can't see any leakage. It is physical. You can actually see all the 10 microfarad ones are fine. 2.2, 4.7s, they're all fine. It is literally just those 10 microfarad ones, which is quite interesting. So I'm hoping that's fixed it. And the reason I'm fairly confident that it's going to be, well, I think it's this one that's caused the problem, is on this board, which I do actually need to put caps back on. This one is completely and utterly rotten. The leg's rotten on it, and that was what was wrong with the machine. I seem to remember this. Actually, I think I swapped the deck out and put it with another good board, so that's how I got round that. That was years ago, to be honest. At the time, I don't think that showed any physical signs, because I probably would have noticed it, but it certainly is leaking now. So yeah, that's something to really watch out for. So if you're reconditioning one of these, or you want it an added level of reliability, or you've got logic problems similar to this, then check those. I would just do them all. There's only 4. It is double-sided print, and I did use a solder sucker vacuum soldering iron to get them out, just because of the double-sided print. I did actually it's quite weird that I did actually damage one trace ever so slightly, but I actually got away with it. It had just lifted slightly, I think just from in the main from the nastiness that had come out of the capacitors. So what I should do now is get this back together and we can give it a test, see what it's like. Let's crack on. Oh, I forgot to mention as well, this is the one with the rub marks that I took out of here. I'm going to leave this one in. Obviously, I must have broken the legs, but I was so careful taking it out. So what I've done is I've scraped off some of the, full focus, scraped off some of the paint, and then very quickly just put some solder on there, and then put the legs on. This is coated in wax as well, so it does sort of try and contaminate as you go along, but because these are risen, I got away with it. You can see the wax sort of melting around it, but it was fine. But, well, we'll see. And hopefully it won't be too long before we get the chance to actually try this. Is that... Just wondering what type of signal relay that was, because I need one for Sanyo. Future video coming up about those. So yeah, we've got a deck with all this broken. It's the one I actually nicked the display off to get the display on this one sorted. This has a good display, so I was going to nick it off this and put it on the other, but I'm quite tempted to rather than replace all of these ribbons, which I don't really want to do if I can help it, I think I might just put the other deck on this and see if it works once I put these caps in. So yeah, anyway, let's crack on. Let's get this deck back on. So Okay, so we're all connected. What I have done as well is I've put a book underneath. You can just see the green of it. So I'm not stressing those connections. I should have done that sooner. But yeah, I didn't. So let's swing this over to make sure we've connected everything. Swing this over. Reconnect that and reconnect. It's a bit of a fiddle. Get that round there. Back into there. Connector at the back, which you probably can't see, but let's get it on. Oh. Managed to get my power supply cable the wrong side of that cable. Push this down. I'm going to be brave and just put in those 2 screws for what it's worth. There are grounding points, so that's cool. Although there was a ground through the cabling anyway, so it wouldn't really matter, but just one less thing to come adrift while I test this and see. Oh, I mean, I'm hoping that's all it is, and if it is all it is, then yeah, I will be very happy and I will be very glad to have found what appears to be becoming quite a common fault with these. So yeah, I suppose we ought to give it a try. Okay, so here it goes. No. I was so... That sound is just something, it's dragging on the underside of the head drum motor, so that's fine. Oh, I was so hopeful that was all it was. So we're back to whether we're missing a voltage. So let's crack on. I missed a capacitor, this one here. I even marked it. So it's five capacitors. You have to change all 5 10 microfarad 16 volt capacitors, and let's just run it. Turn it on. We have magic. Can't believe it. So it is literally those 5 caps. Do them all. Yeah, it's going to struggle a bit because it's running in a really weird angle. That's working. I can't believe it. Yes, I suppose the next thing is to get this put back together. Let's crack on. Okay, so let's put this back together. I was going to use video that I did when I took it apart, but I've actually decided to go along the path of using another machine, because I can't remember. Like I say, it's just a while since I took this apart, and so that earth goes there, or ground goes there. That touches against the clip, I believe. So it grounds the metal clip. And cable wise, it just goes round here. And goes underneath. So that's fine. And there's a screw that goes in through there. Now I have to watch out a bit, because some of these screws I'm going to need. I just can't remember where anything goes. So it makes it a bit more interesting, doesn't it? Nice to see somebody struggle sometimes. So this here goes on here, and I took this off because it was just flapping about and being generally a pain. So I took it out of the way. Okay, so that's good. Too sure about that bit of cable there. Probably can't see this, just plugging in the audio. Okay, so should be able to lift this up now. We've got just a bit wary, because I know the that one chip that I changed is a little bit tight, but I've put the Capstan tape on it, so we should be alright. It's looking okay. So hopefully I can put this up now and it will sit correctly. Which it isn't. No, it's because I've got this here. It's fouling it. Blimey, that was actually quite a bit more of a task than I was quite anticipating. Probably not helped by the fact that I'd left it so long to actually do this. See, someone's put a screwdriver there. Try and get it open. You need to pull back the top cover to get it off. So yeah, okay, lovely. I think now what I need to do is get these wires off, get the TTF1F, and well, give it a try, I suppose, and actually see if we've got video and everything works, and because we haven't actually proved that things work, and I don't want to go much further without doing that. So yeah. Let's crack on. I'm just putting the top on the other one I took apart to have a look. Yeah. Super. Okay, so here goes. Fingers crossed. No. Oh no. Oh, was it just... I think I was a bit upset. Let's try the light. Loom. Yeah, really super bright. But yeah, I mean, obviously black and white because it's I'm playing a PAL tape. But tracking left, tracking right. You see, you get some noise in there. But yeah, that is actually fine. Still a little bit concerned that it was a bit like stuttery getting going, and it's just done it again. Yeah, we've got a bit of slap going on. I think that may well be that it needs the upper drum resurfaced, but it ought to be, it just needs a good clean. But I'm just a bit concerned about this intermittent stopping again. It seems we're not quite out the woods yet. Which is a bit annoying. But we'll see. Let's just do an eject. So that's fine. Oh, I don't like the way that cable's running at the back there. Doesn't quite help. I just haven't got that cable in very well. Yeah, I might have to just have a fertile with that, but that's fine. Just more concerned about, is it going to work? Well, actually, let's eject it again. Let's have a look at that upper drum. It actually doesn't look that bad. So I think with a clean, I'd rather not resurface it, to be honest. If I really don't have to. That goes for any machine, really. It is a last. A thing of last resort. I didn't finish that sentence, did I? Obviously, it has got just tidying up the cabling on this side. because obviously some of it has got that gone through there. Maybe? Nah. It's just going to strain stuff. This one needs to go the other side of there. And get it back on. Okay. So I think I've got something wrong. I mean, it's only fast forward I'm getting the problems, and like, well, anything forward. And it cuts out, but rewind is fine, apart from the snapping. And I think something is not right how that board's gone back in. You can see a bend there, and I'm just worried that just about maybe just make out the chip there, that maybe is not doing what it's supposed to do, well, being strained, or something's not right. So I need to take a look at that. Let's crack on. Well, I rerouted some cable and sorted out that bulge, got the chip sitting properly, and I think we're okay now. But I just need to test it, I think, and just see what happens. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. It's odd. But yeah, I'll run it for a while anyway, and then we'll do some recording tests, playback tests, and yeah, we should then hopefully be good to go. Let's crack on. It's been on for quite a while now. How long? About 20 minutes, half an hour, and yeah, it's still fine. So I think that sort of proves the issue maybe with the printed circuit board, that they don't actually have through connections through the board if there's a double-sided connection on each side of the PCB. Does that make sense? So I think what I might have to do, possibly, I mean, I could run some solder through, and that'll probably do the trick, but I might have to just lift the deck again and just check that there's enough solder there to actually make the connection. So it's not a biggie really. I don't have to strip it right the way down again. So yeah, I'll take that. So yeah, I'll let this run a bit more, and we do need to adjust the servo side of things, namely the reel motors. They are, because I changed the actual reel motor assembly and I've not swapped it back, because the one I've actually put in is much lower hours, I think. It's just much smoother, but it is causing problems. It's not quite lined up as it should be. No, I'm not getting the slap so much. Maybe. That relay sounds a bit. Oh no. No, that's fine. It all seems fine. So yeah, really happy. So need to just check that chip, but everything seems fine now. I'm not quite sure what was going on. I mean, I will say, once I'd redone the loom, because these all sort of crossed over and all the rest of it, it was all very messy, and I'd got this board back in the right position, everything seemed to just work. So I don't know, we'll see how we go. But yeah, I probably will just reflow the solder on the back side of the board, just to be sure that everything is okay. And then I just need to get back to get him to find out if he wants me to just do a service on the TTF1F. I am very worried about the power supply capacitors, because I can almost guarantee they will have leaked. So I'll get on to him and we'll take it from there, I suppose. I don't know whether it's going to make it that there'll be a part 2, or whether, yeah, it'll be in this video. This video is already really long, so we'll see how we get on. But yeah, let's crack on. So some good news. We've been given the go-ahead to sort out the TTF1F as well, which is great news. So I'm going to call it the end of the video now, and we'll work on this and we'll give this a test as well. I've already got the Kramer out to do some standards conversion and do some recording, do some playback, and just check it's all okay. So with that, thank you very much for watching, and look forward to seeing you in part 2. Let's crack on.